Fiancé convinced his family I was out of the picture while secretly living a double life with me and my kids. I have been with my partner, Bill, for 4 years. I'm 30 and he's 34. My 8-year-old son, from a previous relationship, has basically been adopted by Bill, since his own father is out of the picture. We welcomed our daughter together in June. Bill comes from a fiercely Catholic family, while I am a Baptist, which should have been fine, but from the beginning there were storm clouds on the horizon. When we first started dating, it took an entire year before I met his family. I kept wondering why, and Bill told me his mother was just difficult to deal with and he didn't want my feelings to get hurt. I figured it couldn't be that bad, but when I finally did meet her, I was blindsided. She interrogated me about my past, grilled me about my faith, insisted it was a red flag that I wasn't Catholic, told me I wasn't who she pictured for her son. I walked away from that encounter in tears. I'd never been judged so harshly by someone I barely knew. Over the next couple of years, visits to Bill's family became rare. Every time we went, I'd leave feeling rotten and somehow less than, as if they made it their mission to find flaws in me. And then his sisters, who are about my age, Bill being the oldest, started in with the drama. At one point, one of the sisters' fiancés was found on Tinder, and somehow they decided that I must have made the fake profile to sabotage him. Without a word to my face, the family exiled me. They stopped acknowledging me completely, no calls, no messages, nothing. There's a saying that comes to mind: if people believe lies about you without ever confronting you, they were looking for a reason to be against you in the first place. That's exactly what it felt like. This was summer 2023. By summer 2024, Bill told me he'd tried getting his family to meet us so we could make amends, but his mom kept bailing because, as he put it, she couldn't stand to be around me. It cut deep. I knew in my heart I'd never do the things I was being accused of, and yet I felt villainized, like they wanted to drive me and Bill apart. I reached for some sort of peace and wrote his mom a heartfelt letter, explaining that I wanted to make amends, that I didn't want her thinking I'm a bad person. Nothing. No reply. According to Bill, though, his mom actually thought the letter was sweet and wasn't mad at me anymore. Little did I know how much worse things would get. In October 2024, life threw us a surprise. I found out I was pregnant. It was unexpected, but both Bill and I were happy, determined to move forward together. By December, Bill informed his parents of the pregnancy. Their response? Shock. I asked if we could meet up, but Bill told me they didn't want to. Right in the middle of this, Bill proposed, and I was genuinely happy to be engaged to him at last. Fast forward to February 2025, and things got wild. Bill's mom found my Amazon baby registry and lost her mind. Apparently she hated the baby's name, took issue with everything I'd put on my registry, and was outraged that I was having a baby shower at all because it's not etiquette to do that for a second child. To escape the scrutiny, I deleted my registry and created a private one, sharing it only with people who truly loved me. His mom and sisters, however, still pried into everything, monitoring what people bought and reporting back to Bill that I didn't actually need these things. March came with another surprise. Bill let me know that his sister, yes, the one who married the infamous Tinder guy, had also had a baby. I had no clue she was even pregnant. Apparently, the family felt that his sister deserved the spotlight and that Bill and I shouldn't advertise our news, given that we weren't married and in their eyes, should be ashamed. June 2025 brought our beautiful daughter into the world. I'd finally just given up on trying to get his parents and sisters to come around. When the baby was 2 weeks old, Bill asked me to go with him to his parents' house. I hesitated. How could I face them after the way they treated me throughout my pregnancy? Reluctantly, I said yes. The visit started out fine, but then Bill's mom made a passing comment that made my stomach drop. I got your letter last year, but I didn't reply because I didn't know you guys were still together. Confused, I asked Bill what she meant, but he had no idea. While we were there, Bill finally broke the news to his parents that we were engaged. His mom seemed hurt that he'd kept it from her. Later, she began texting Bill insisting on a public apology because his sisters were upset that they weren't told the big news from the start. The irony was almost too much. Why would I celebrate my happiness with people who had falsely accused and rejected me? That same visit, I asked his mom for her number so I could send her pictures of the baby. One night, the two of us spoke on the phone, and something compelled me to dive deeper. I asked her what she meant about not knowing Bill and I were still together. That's when she dropped a bomb that changed my life overnight. She told me that after I was accused of creating that Tinder profile back in 2023, Bill told the entire family that we had broken up. I pressed her, when did they find out we were together again? She said they only realized it after Bill's sister's friend spotted us at my son's theater production in January 2025, took a photo, and sent it to his sister. Only then, when they confronted him, did he admit that I was not only still in the picture but also pregnant, causing the family to freak out. I then asked her why she didn't question Bill after she received my letter. She explained that Bill told the family I was crazy and relentlessly trying to contact him even though he wanted me to leave him alone. All the while, Bill was beside me, sleeping in my bed, doting on my son, and joining in on all my family gatherings, keeping up this facade. She also reiterated her opinion that I shouldn't have had a baby shower, since it was my second child and I didn't need attention. I told her, according to etiquette, It's totally appropriate to have a baby shower if it's been over 5 years and a new gender, which was our situation. We left it at agreeing to disagree. But the revelations didn't stop there. Bill had always told me he kept no real contact with his family, but during that phone call, his mom told me he visited them almost every Sunday, the same days he claimed he went to his apartment to catch up on work after spending the weekends with me. The betrayal hit me like a tidal wave. I confronted Bill, and while he was remorseful, he hasn't made any real moves to mend the destruction. I still don't know what I need. I poured out my heart and energy trying to make peace after being falsely accused, sending that olive branch letter and hoping, because Bill encouraged me, they would respond in time. All the while, he was telling them I was unhinged and obsessive, stringing me along without a care. I gave Bill back the ring and walked out of the house we'd built together. His only excuse was that his mother's lack of acceptance put him in a tough spot. I told him plainly that if he truly loved me, his loyalty should have been with me, not his mother and sisters. Eventually, though, I found my way back. I want to repair things, more than anything, but I feel so lost and humiliated. All this time, I believed the family was cruelly rejecting me, when in reality, they had no idea I even existed. I thought he was on my side, standing up for me, cutting his family off. Meanwhile, he was at their house all the time, pretending I was nothing. Even throughout my pregnancy. I honestly don't think he ever would have come clean if I hadn't gotten pregnant. Without that, I would have simply remained his dirty little secret. He'd hold me while I cried, never letting on that my whole world was built on a lie. I used to believe that Bill's family was actively being hateful towards me. That bitterness lingered in the back of my mind for so long, only for me to realize, much later, that they weren't even thinking about me. Most of them didn't even know I existed in the way I thought they did. It's both funny and heartbreaking how my mind clung to that idea. Last night, Bill unexpectedly asked me what he could do to fix things between us. I guess he finally started noticing how much I've changed. I stopped making dinner for everyone and just focused on feeding myself and the kids. Our conversations became strictly about the baby, and I would barely acknowledge him when he told me he loved me. I just stopped pouring energy into our relationship and began tending to my own wounds, prioritizing myself for the first time in a long while. I told him honestly that I couldn't say I was in love with him anymore, nor could I picture our future together. I let go of those dreams back in July. We were supposed to get married this December, but that became another empty plan. He wouldn't set a date or pick a venue when we got engaged. I should have seen it as a sign. Now he keeps asking what he can do to fix things, but the truth is, I don't know. Maybe I just don't care anymore. I've accepted things for what they are. I'm coasting, waiting out the time I need to survive until I'm finished with grad school. When he asked if we could go out this weekend, just the two of us, I felt nothing but dread. It seems like he's trying to love bomb me, desperate to win himself more time. I simply don't want any part of it. I've found comfort in the way my life is now. I get to read, throw myself into schoolwork, play with my kids, just be with myself. Bill is just in the next room, existing alongside me. In the last 2 months since everything surfaced, I tried, truly tried, to mend things. I told him what I needed, an honest apology, a real conversation with his family about everything, and full transparency from here on out. But I never got any of it. He keeps hiding things, even the little stuff, like going to a basketball game with his family, then telling me he was with friends. It's like he's desperate to keep his two worlds separate, me and his family, never allowed to overlap. But, to my surprise, his mom has started making an effort to involve me. Most of his sisters have reached out, except for the one with the Tinder husband. Even his dad includes me in conversations and asks if I need anything. Strangely, the only person who can't move forward and let go is Bill. I feel torn, hurt and numb all at once. Deep down, I want us to work, but I can't find the strength to forgive him. He made me look like a fool in every way possible. I try to forget how disgusted I feel every time he opens his mouth, but the feeling lingers. I used to fantasize about our December wedding, but now, I can't even picture him wanting to spend the day with me. The white lies never stopped. I don't know what to do. He's built a relationship with my son, we have a beautiful daughter together, and a house. I feel completely stuck. My mom says I can always come home with the kids, but urges me to try to make it work first. But honestly, I feel so defeated. I'm on autopilot every single day. It's not me. I used to bubble with energy, always laughing, singing, dancing in the kitchen and the shower. I don't know where that girl went or if I'll ever get her back. This isn't an act to make Bill feel guilty or to prove a point. It was a slow, heartbreaking decline, the kind that creeps up until you suddenly realize how dark things have gotten. That's probably what finally led Bill to ask what he can do. I don't have any answers. I just know I'm lost. I need to know if this can be fixed, if it's even worth fixing, how to dig my way out of this numbness, and most of all, how to forgive. I've offered couples counseling, but between work, school, and 2 kids, it feels almost impossible to make time. Maybe we could go occasionally if I thought it would matter, if I thought it would help me find myself again. Update 1. I guess, deep down, I already knew the answer, but I couldn't help myself from holding on to a little hope that things might be salvageable. I kept wondering if there was anything left to fix, anything I might be missing, or some way to put the pieces back together. It's like I was standing at a crossroads, needing someone else to say what I was afraid to admit. Now, with the weight of everyone's agreement echoing what's been tugging at the corner of my mind, I feel that sense of finality settle in. It's overwhelming, relief mixed with sadness, because I think I just needed that outside confirmation to finally accept. Things are truly too far gone to repair. Update 2. It's been 3 weeks since my last update, and I honestly didn't think I'd be back here so soon. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them, and I'm still reeling from what happened. After everyone's responses confirmed what I already knew deep down, I started making plans. Real plans. I reached out to a lawyer, started looking at apartments near campus, and even began the process of transferring some of my classes online so I could have more flexibility with the kids. For the first time in months, I felt like I was taking control of my life again. Bill seemed to sense the shift. He started coming home with flowers, offering to cook dinner, asking about my day with this desperate kind of attention that felt suffocating rather than sweet. But I was done performing. I'd grey-rock him during the day and focus on my kids and schoolwork in the evenings. Then last Tuesday happened. I was putting our daughter down for her nap when Bill's phone, which he'd left on the kitchen counter, started buzzing incessantly. At first, I ignored it. Old habits die hard, and I'd trained myself not to care about his communications anymore. But the buzzing wouldn't stop. When I glanced over, I could see it was his sister calling repeatedly. The same sister who'd been radio silent since everything came out. The one married to the Tinder guy. Something in my gut told me to answer it. "Hello?" I said, and immediately heard sobbing on the other end. "Oh my God, is Bill there? I need to talk to Bill right now," she gasped between tears. "He's outside with my son." "What's wrong?" There was a pause, and then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Mom found the messages. She found all of them." I don't know what possessed me, but I pressed her. "What messages?" "The ones between Bill and..." She trailed off, clearly realizing she was talking to me and not her brother. I felt that familiar sinking feeling, the one I'd become too acquainted with over the past few months. "Between Bill and who?" She hung up. I stood there staring at the phone, my hands actually shaking. When Bill came back inside 20 minutes later, I handed him his phone without a word. I watched his face as he saw the missed calls, watched him step outside to call his sister back. Through the window, I could see him pacing, running his hands through his hair in that way he does when he's panicked. He was outside for over an hour. When he finally came back in, his face was ashen. He looked at me like he was seeing a ghost, and maybe he was. Maybe he was seeing the ghost of whatever future he thought we still had. "We need to talk," he said, and his voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear him. "About what?" I asked, though part of me didn't want to know. He sat down across from me at our kitchen table, the same table where we'd planned our daughter's nursery, where we'd talked about our wedding, where I'd confronted him about his lies just months ago. "There's something else," he said. "Something I should have told you a long time ago." And there it was. That moment when you realize the foundation you thought you were standing on was actually quicksand all along. He told me about Sarah, a coworker from his old job, someone he'd been in contact with on and off for the past 3 years. It was never physical, he kept insisting, like that somehow made it better. But as he talked, the picture became clearer. Late night texts. Lunch meetings he'd hidden from me. Emotional support he'd given her through her divorce, support that had apparently become inappropriate somewhere along the way. The worst part? The timeline. It started before I got pregnant with our daughter. It continued through my entire pregnancy, through those months when I was crying myself to sleep thinking his family hated me, when I was pouring my heart out in letters to his mother, when I was planning a future with someone who was already planning his exit strategy. "She wanted me to leave you," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Especially after the baby was born. She said I deserved someone who understood me better." I laughed. Actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because the alternative was screaming, and I refused to let my children hear me fall apart again. "So let me get this straight," I said, my voice eerily calm. "While I was begging your family to accept me, you were not only lying to them about our relationship, but you were also emotionally cheating with someone who was actively trying to get you to leave me?" He nodded miserably. "And your mom found out about this how?" Apparently, Bill's mom had been going through old phone records, don't ask me why, and noticed the frequency of calls to Sarah's number. When she confronted Bill's sister, the one who called, she broke down and admitted she'd known about Sarah for months. One thing led to another, and now the whole family knows about Bill's other woman. The irony is almost poetic. His family, who I thought hated me because of his lies, now actually feels sorry for me. His mother, the woman who questioned my faith and my character, called me yesterday to apologize. Not just for how they treated me, but for raising a son who could deceive me so thoroughly. "I know what it's like to be lied to," she said, and I could hear the pain in her voice. Apparently, this isn't the first time Bill has played games with the truth, even within his own family. So here I am, 3 weeks after thinking I'd hit rock bottom, discovering there was a whole other level of betrayal underneath. The man I thought I knew, the one who held me while I cried about his family's rejection, who proposed to me while maintaining an emotional affair, who let me believe I was crazy for feeling like something was wrong, never existed. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just empty. But it's a different kind of empty than before. It's the kind that comes with clarity. I've already contacted my lawyer again. This time, I'm not wavering. I can't keep living in this house of cards, waiting for the next secret to collapse everything again. My kids deserve better. I deserve better. Bill keeps asking what he can do, how he can fix this, but I think we're past the point of repair. You can't rebuild trust when you keep discovering new ways it was broken. The strangest part of all this? His family has been more supportive of me in the past week than they ever were when they thought I was actually part of their son's life. His mom has offered to help me move. His dad slipped me some cash for the kids when Bill wasn't looking. Even his sisters have reached out, all of them now. I guess sometimes it takes seeing someone's true character to realize who the real villain in the story was all along. I don't know what comes next, but for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid to find out. Update 3. I've been going back and forth about whether to post this update, but I need to get this out of my head before I lose my mind completely. It's been 2 weeks since I found out about Sarah, and I thought the worst was behind me. I was wrong. I'd been staying strong, actually making progress on moving out. I found a small 2-bedroom apartment near campus, and my lawyer assured me we had a solid case for custody given Bill's pattern of deception. I was even starting to feel like myself again, not the dancing in the kitchen version, but at least someone who could see a future that didn't involve constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Then Sarah called me. I was loading the dishwasher last Thursday evening when my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Emily? The voice was shaky, nervous. Yes, who is this? This is Sarah. Sarah Morrison. I think we need to talk. My blood went ice cold. Of all the ways I'd imagined this conversation might happen, I'd never pictured her reaching out to me directly. Bill was at work, the kids were playing in the living room, and here was this woman, this stranger who'd been whispering in my partner's ear for 3 years, asking to meet. I don't think that's a good idea, I managed to say. Please, she said, and I could hear her crying. There are things you need to know. Things Bill hasn't told you about me, about us, about other people. Other people. Those 2 words made my stomach drop. Against every instinct screaming at me to hang up, I agreed to meet her the next day at a coffee shop downtown. I didn't tell Bill. I didn't tell anyone. Sarah was nothing like I'd imagined. I'd pictured some confident homewrecker, but the woman sitting across from me looked as broken as I felt. She was petite, probably in her late 20s, with dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days. I'm so sorry, were the first words out of her mouth. You have to believe me, I never meant for it to get this far. She told me her story, and honestly, I almost felt sorry for her. She'd been going through a messy divorce when she and Bill started talking. He'd presented himself as single, said he was figuring things out after a complicated relationship that had ended badly. According to her, Bill painted me as an unstable ex who was trying to trap him with my son and who'd gotten pregnant to manipulate him into staying. He showed me photos of text messages, she said, pulling out her phone. Messages he said were from you, calling him obsessively, threatening to hurt yourself if he left. She showed me the screenshots, and I felt sick. The messages were real, they were from my phone number, but I'd never sent them. Someone had been sending manipulative, desperate texts to Bill, using my number, making me look exactly as unhinged as he described me to his family. When did you get these? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The first one started in early 2023. They got worse around the time you got pregnant. That timeline hit me like a freight train. Someone had been spoofing my number for almost 2 years, sending messages designed to make me look crazy. Bill had been showing these to justify his relationship with Sarah, probably to justify his lies to his family, maybe even to justify them to himself. But then Sarah dropped the real bombshell. There's something else, she said, fidgeting with her coffee cup. Bill wasn't the only one. I mean, I thought he was, but after his mom confronted his sister and everything came out, I started asking questions. She pulled up Facebook on her phone and showed me a photo that made my world tilt sideways. It was Bill, but he was with another woman I didn't recognize. They were at some restaurant, and she was wearing what looked suspiciously like an engagement ring. Her name is Jessica. I found her through his tagged photos from last year. We talked yesterday. My hands started shaking. What did she say? She said she's been seeing Bill for 8 months. He told her the same story, that he was getting over a toxic relationship, that his ex was unstable and trying to manipulate him with kids that weren't even his. I stared at the photo. 8 months. That meant he was seeing Jessica when I was in my 3rd trimester, when I was giving birth to our daughter, when he was asking me what he could do to fix things between us. There might be more, Sarah continued quietly. Jessica said she had suspicions he was seeing other people. She'd been planning to confront him about it when everything with your situation exploded. I sat there in that coffee shop, holding my daughter's birth certificate in my purse, the one that lists Bill as her father, and realizing that the man I thought I knew was a complete stranger, not just a liar or a cheater, but someone who'd constructed an entire alternate reality where I was the villain in multiple people's lives. Sarah reached across the table and touched my hand. I'm leaving town, she said. My job has an opening in Denver, and I'm taking it. But I had to tell you first. Someone needs to know the truth about who he really is. When I got home that afternoon, Bill was playing with our daughter on the living room floor, making silly faces that made her giggle. For a moment, watching him, I could almost forget everything I'd learned. Almost. "How was your day?" he asked, looking up at me with those same eyes that had lied to me countless times. "Fine," I said, because what else was there to say? That I'd just discovered he was living a triple life? That there were women all over the state who thought I was some crazy ex he couldn't shake? That night, I did something I'd never done before. While Bill was in the shower, I went through his phone, really went through it. I found Jessica's number saved under Jason. Clever. I found hotel receipts hidden in his email's deleted folder. I found dating app notifications that had been turned off but not deleted. But the thing that broke me wasn't evidence of more women. It was a voice memo, saved in his notes from 3 months ago. It was Bill's voice, and he was practicing. Practicing what to say to me if I ever found out about Sarah. I know I messed up, but it was never physical. She was just someone I could talk to when things got hard with you. I was going to tell you after the baby was born. He'd been planning his confession speech. Which meant he'd known, for months, that this day would come. He'd been preparing his lies while I was preparing our nursery. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. while Bill sleeps next to me, completely unaware that I know about Jessica, about the fake text messages, about the voice memo. Part of me wants to wake him up and scream until my voice gives out. Part of me wants to pack up the kids right now and drive to my mom's house. But mostly, I just feel hollow. Like someone scooped out everything inside me and left just the shell walking around, taking care of children, going through the motions of a life that was never real to begin with. Tomorrow, I'm going to call Jessica. Sarah gave me her number and said she wants to talk. I don't know what I'll say, but I need to hear her story too. I need to understand how many versions of me Bill has created, how many women are out there thinking they're saving him from someone who doesn't exist. My lawyer wants to meet early next week. I haven't told her about Jessica yet, but I will. This changes everything, not just about custody, but about who Bill really is. I keep thinking about that voice memo, about how calm and practiced he sounded. This isn't someone who made mistakes or got in over his head. This is someone who calculates his deceptions, who plans his betrayals, who builds entire relationships on lies and then practices how to minimize the damage when the truth comes out. I don't know how many more updates I'll write. I don't know how much more of this story there is to tell. But I know I'm done being a character in Bill's fiction. Whatever comes next, it's going to be real, even if it's messy and painful and nothing like the life I thought I was building. For the first time in months, that feels like enough.